Welcome to the Hot Corner Show on the ISPS Radio Podcast Network with your host, Dr. Ray, the softball-playing chiropractor and the official chiropractor of ISPS, and Manuel T. Ferrero III, the commissioner of International Slow Pitch Softball. Listen to the Hot Corner Show every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the ISPS Radio Podcast channel. Call the show at 347-637-3978 and talk sports and health topics with Dr. Ray, plus slow pitch softball from around the world with Manuel T. Ferrero III, fantasy sports, special guests, and more. Call the show now on the special guest call-in hotline at 347-637-3978. Now, bring your A game, because you're about to experience the Hot Corner.
All right, welcome in, everybody. How we doing tonight? It's your host here, as always, each and every Wednesday night, Dr. Ray, the softball-playing chiropractor. Want to welcome everybody into the Hot Corner here tonight. As always, we got a great show for you. I don't know how we pack it all into an hour, but we're going to make it happen, I promise. We got a lot going on the show here tonight. A lot of different things going on, real time, a lot of events for us to cover, a lot of fantasy sports for us to cover. Fantasy baseball is coming to a close. Fantasy football is just getting started. I know there's a lot of people out there that are wondering, what was I thinking in my draft, and why didn't I take this guy, and why did I take that guy? But we're going to get into all that, and of course we're going to talk about the health topic tonight is going to be the first of a three-part series where we're going to talk about physical, chemical, and the emotional side of your health, and we're going to talk about the physical side of the health tonight. And then, of course, we're going to have David Dwork from CBS Miami for our Sports Dwork Minute here on the show, and he's going to tell us all about fantasy and what's happening with the Dolphins from the inside. Also, we have Tim GEBARD from the movie The Fall League, so he's going to be joining us here in a moment. He's going to be our first segment. But before we get there, I want to go ahead and introduce our co-host and the man that makes it all possible, the commissioner of ISPS, Mr. Manuel T. Ferrero III.
Thank you, Dr. Ray. How are you, Dr. Ray? How are you on this? And it's a sad day over here in Yankee country, man. The passing of Yogi Berra, man. I'm kind of sad, bro. What do you think about the passing of Yogi?
Well, I tell you what, it's definitely a sad day, but I know that he's up at that diamond in the sky right now, and one of those people that just brought a tremendous amount of joy to the game. One of the figures of the game, you know, still to this day, even at the age of 90 years old. I mean, he was still doing Geico commercials. I mean, just a couple of years ago, you know what I mean? They'll give you cash, which is just as good as money. You know what I mean? Just another Yogiism. So anyway, 100%, it's a sad day for Yankee Nation. I tell you what, it's a very happy day for me, though. Baseball Nation, yeah, everything concerning baseball, but for me, I'm happy because I was actually able to go to work today. I was actually able to get up out of my bed today. I was actually able to, you know, I got hit with some sort of a crazy virus. I don't know what it was, but I was 2 days, 48 hours literally in bed. But today I'm back at it. So I'm going to write a little bit of a blog about what happened. I got hit with a stomach virus. I don't know if it was the flu or what it was, but I made a full recovery. I feel great today. I'm going to be going to the gym after the show here and everything. But that's something that I want you guys to know about because there's a lot of people out there that are getting it. Apparently, a friend of mine was in the hospital, said tons of people are coming in with that. But I'm going to write up a little blog on that. So if you guys want to check out my website, look for that blog at 353heal.com. And you're going to see what I did in order to make a full recovery in just 2 days from something like that. And, you know, Manny and I were supposed to play some golf on Monday morning, and I called him up. And it was 6:30, and I was like, Manny, I'm not going to make it. And I think he thought I would just wanted to go back to sleep. But then I sent him a picture of myself with an IV in my arm, and then I think he realized that I was serious. So tell me your side of the story, Manny. What were you thinking at 6:30 when I called you?
Well, brother, I was getting ready. I was almost heading out the door when I got your message, and I was like, oh, great, this guy, he's going to sell out again like he always does. But, man, you got lucky, man. I got to the golf course, and the night before it had really rained down here in the city of Miami, and the golf course was closed up. So you got lucky, man. We got to reschedule. Hey, but
I'll tell you, I did not get lucky. Let's just make that clear. I would have much rather gone to the golf course than been in bed for 2 days with what I had. But no, 100%. Let's keep it moving.
But I was able to do a little bit of some chipping. I did some putting there on the putting greens. But man, I would have loved to have gone and played. But what can you say?
No, but that's good. You got some. It's good that you got practice. I mean, that way you might have a chance when we play next time. You know what I mean?
Definitely, Dr. Ray. But anyways, going back to the passing of Yogi Berra, man. Poor Yogi. But God rest his soul, man. Man, 90 years old, Dr. Ray. What do you think? Let's go over. I saw this article online. It had a bunch of the top Yogi Berra yogiisms, but I thought we could do the top 5, bro. What do you think?
That sounds good, and I'll add another one to it. I'll do another one, and I'll start you off with my favorite one. And this is one that I've always said, and even though it's a yogi, and the reason why I love yogiisms is because even though they sound like they're just, I don't know, just very, it's just a completely different perspective, but
right. They're
so true when you think about it. I mean, it's so simple, but it's so true. It's so simple, but it's so deep. I mean, my favorite one really is, it's not over until it's over. You know,
yeah.
I mean, you could be down 13 runs in the bottom of the 6th, and then in softball you come up and you score 17 runs and you get them 3 and out the next inning and you win the game, you know, but it's not over until it's over, you know, so that's my favorite yogi.
That's a great one. That is a great one.
Let's go hit the top 5, though. Go ahead and let's read them, Manny.
Let's do the top 5 Yogi Berra yogiisms. And on Twitter, if you're following us on Twitter, at Dr. Ray T or at ISPSO, let us know which one's your favorite. Number 5, and Dr. Ray, I'm going to read to you each one. You tell me what you think, and you tell me if it's genius or not. These are all genius in my opinion, but it's a different type of genius. It's a yogiism genius. Number 5, when you come to a fork in the road, take it.
I love it. I mean, what can you say? I mean, honestly, like I said before, it sounds dumb, but at the same time, it's so smart. I mean, you know, when you come to a fork in the road, either way, you're going to end up taking it. I think the whole point here is it doesn't matter where you go. Just be decisive and just go, you know, just make it happen.
Right. Do it. Go. Just do it. Like Nike. They should have used Yogi, man. Anyways, number 4, if you can't imitate him, don't copy him.
Yeah, again, and I'm going to end up saying the same thing for all of these. You know, just, it sounds dumb, but it's very true. It's just complex in a way that it's like only a Yogi Berra mind would be able to understand. You know, but if you can't imitate him, don't copy him. To me, what this means is basically, if you don't have the same skill set or the same whatever the case is, be yourself. Don't try to be somebody that you're not. Don't try to be something that you're not. Just be you. And you know, there's no sense in trying to be something that you're not.
Dude, each one of these sounds like an old baseball coach I used to have back in the days, like for Palma de Junco. Palma de Junco was an old Cuban association down here in Miami, Florida, in the city of Miami. And I remember this guy, my coach,
And this sounds exactly like him, you know. It's like, hey, if you can't imitate him, don't copy him. You know, it sounds just like an old baseball coach, you know. Dr. Ray, number 3, you can observe a lot by just watching. Genius. That's genius.
It really is. I mean, again, so simple, but yet there's so much meaning here. I mean, how many people just don't pay attention to what's going on right in front of them? I mean, I think another way to say this is, you know, sometimes the things that are most important are right underneath your nose, you know, and a lot of times we don't realize that.
Number 2, we made too many wrong mistakes.
I tell you, this one doesn't need any type of translation. I mean, this one is
like,
just straightforward. It's just right there. It's just in your face. You know what I mean? It's just, it is what it is.
You know what it reminds me of? Like Forrest Gump logic, you know, Forrest Gump genius. You know, all those little quirky little quotes from the Forrest Gump movie. It's kind of like the same, like these little yogiisms. And number 1, Dr. Ray, so I'm ugly. I never saw anyone hit with his face. And it's true in baseball or pretty much in anything. You really don't need to be beautiful. I mean, unless you're going to be a model. And even if so, something, you know, sometimes there's ugly models and they still make it. But it's on you, I guess, or your talent or your skill, you know. Correct, Dr. Ray?
I mean, I couldn't agree anymore. You know, it doesn't. It's on the inside. It's the heart. You know, especially when you're talking about sports, it's the heart that matters. You know, the looks ain't it. You know, you could be what do they call it? You know, a bus team. You know, when the team gets off the bus and you're like, oh my God, look at these guys, and then you know they play like little girls. Sorry, no offense, but you know what I mean. And you know, that's just the way it is. There's looks can be intimidating, but there's nothing to it. It's just a look, and really what it's all about is the person that's inside and the person that's making it happen and the heart that they have. So, you know, again, Yogi was on point with all these. And again, as you mentioned, a very sad day. And I'd like to actually, if we can, Manny, just observe, you know, a couple seconds of silence for Yogi and for his family and for all the baseball fans out there. So let's just take a couple seconds here and just say a little prayer for him for a moment.
Frontier Spine and Healthcare brings you the cutting edge in healthcare with all the newest research and techniques in natural medicine. Although many people share the same symptoms, they all have them for different reasons. Using thorough physical examination and the newest technology in diagnostic testing, we can truly discover why you have the symptoms you do. Remember that good doctors know what you have, but great doctors know why. Call 786-353-HEAL or click www.353heal.com to schedule your appointment and experience the future of medicine today. Predictive, preventive, and personalized. Frontier Spine and Healthcare. Area code 786-353-HEAL or www.353heal.com.
All right, and we are back after that. So again, moving on here now, we're going to go ahead and hit our first guest of the night. We are here now with Tim from the movie The Fall League. We want to go ahead and welcome him in.
Hey, Manny, how are you
Tim,
doing?
Hey, there he is.
Hey, Tim.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me on tonight, guys.
No problem, man. Thank you for being on the show with us tonight. And Tim, what's up with the Fall League? I haven't spoken to you in a couple months. What's been going on with the movie?
Well, we've got a couple things coming up, and one of the things this weekend we're going to be screening at the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. We were selected for their baseball film festival, and so that's one way to get to the Hall of Fame, right? We're really excited about it.
Nice.
Definitely, that's a great way to get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I was listening to your the earlier part of the show there, and I'm sure that they're going to have something special at the Hall this weekend in regards to Yogi, one of my all-time favorite baseball players, and so this will make it even a little bit more special for us.
Oh, definitely. Wow, what a special time to be at the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm. Now, we also... go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Tim. It sounded like you had something you were coming with.
Well, I was also going to say that we also, that film festival is certainly focused on baseball, but we also have been selected for screening in Louisville's International Film Festival, which is the following weekend. So we're going to go from Cooperstown to Louisville for screenings of the Fall League.
Nice.
That's a action-packed couple weeks. Why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about the Fall League movie and just kind of give them a quick rundown, no spoilers or anything like that, but for those who haven't heard about it, just a quick rundown of it.
All right, well, it's a 1-hour documentary film, and it documents the senior slow pitch softball leagues in the Dayton, Ohio area, where I'm from. Dayton serves as kind of a magnet for senior leagues. We have players who come from as far away as Cincinnati, Ohio, and then farther north, Columbus, Ohio. So it's a pretty wide-ranging thing. And we talk about the history of the leagues, how it got started, the current players, many issues relating to health, which I'm sure the doctor would be interested in. And we also have some experts in the film. We have a local psychologist, Dr. Kathy Platoni, who works a lot with veterans groups, particularly recent veterans. We have Dr. Leon Spiroff, who's a senior player himself from the Portland, Oregon area, who was a major part of the film. And we also were able to bring in Dennis Turner, who's the slow pitch manager for Louisville Slugger, and he also was in the film. And then part of the film, too, we have so many veterans in the league that we dedicated a section to veterans. And as part of that, we were able to bring in some footage with the Wounded Warrior Amputee softball team as well. So it's a film that covers all aspects of slow pitch ball and particularly for senior slow pitch.
That's awesome, Tim. That's awesome. And that's great to hear, man. Especially since I lost my brother in Iraq in 2007, as some of our listeners know, that's really cool that you're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Tim,
we were honored to meet the players on the Wounded Warrior Amputee team and include them in the film. We think it's just a big bonus for us.
Of course. Oh, tremendous! They're very known across the nation, and so that only gives you more credibility for your film. But Tim, we forgot to let all of our listeners who don't know you, know who you are. Why don't you tell us how are you involved in the film, The Fall League?
Well, I am the producer, and I worked. We actually developed a production company to do the film. The film took place actually over about an 18-month period. We shot over 100 hours of film, and mostly in the Dayton area, through all kinds of weather. You know what it's like to play a slow pitch season. You start when it's pretty cold and rainy, and you end up when it's unbearably hot, and so we just shot it the way it was. We did a few interviews, as I mentioned, with some of the experts that we wanted to bring in, but most of the footage is about just the senior players in the league, showing them as they are. We just wanted to document what we had here. So at any rate, I am the producer of the film, but also, and one of the things I really liked about it, I'm a musician, and so I also wrote and performed the music for the soundtrack, along with my band and some other musicians that we brought in. So it is a complete film. We have a 16-song soundtrack, which we've won a few songwriting awards for several of the songs, and so we're just really, really happy with the overall production.
Really nice, really nice. And what about the music of the film? I heard you won some awards. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it was one of the reasons we did it this way is because I already had music that is copywritten and protected and that sort of thing. But as we were working on the film, I mean, it's about a 18-month to 2-year production from start to finish. I was writing some new material, and as soon as I'd write a song, the director would say, "Oh, we're using that." So, there's some original tunes and some previously recorded tunes. And 4 of the songs, as I mentioned, there are 16 songs. 4 of the songs have received recognition from the Songdoor International Songwriting Competition for awards. And we also did, as part of this production, our theme song, we have a music video that we shot with many of the players in the league participating in the music video. So that was a separate thing, which was really a lot of fun, too.
I bet, man. I bet. And Tim, let me ask you a question. Why did you guys decide to make this film?
Well, again, this started from my involvement in music. I had met some young people in the Dayton music scene, right? And I'm 65. I'm a senior ball player myself, so I was interested in that. But the younger people in the music community were, really receptive to me going out playing music. And through that, I met a few people. Our director of the film, Jennifer Taylor, is kind of known as the rock and roll photographer in our area. She started out with that. The gentleman, our co-producer, Dean Vincent, I recorded my music at his studio, and as soon as he heard we wanted to do a video project, he was right in that, because part of his music studio, he also has a video studio. So he came in and is a great, videographer and so forth. And so we had a little bit of a crew. Young man by the name of Todd the Fox, who often plays in my band. He also, wanted to get involved in some kind of a documentary project, and I suggested that we do something based on this league because, you don't get to be playing softball when you're 65 or 85 or 90 years old unless you have a story to tell. And we had so many stories in the league that we just felt it would be a good subject for, a documentary film.
Oh, no, I bet. Completely. Tim, where can people buy the DVD, the CDs? You have some merchandise I saw there, some T-shirts and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well,
remind everybody where they could find that.
Yeah, we have our website is set up. It's www.thefallleague.com. And not only did it on the home page there, you'd be able to see a preview of the movie. You'll be able to see our music video. And one of the buttons also is for our television licensing. One of the things I haven't told you about is we have an agreement with a company called GSD Media for television licensing throughout the United States. So we're starting to, once we're past the film festival activities, we're starting to get ready to do some television screening, hopefully. And so we're working with GSD Media to do that. But all those things are right there on our website, which I feel really good about our website too, because it really gives a lot of the backstory that you can't really get into the detail on in a movie per se. So it gives a lot of the history and a lot of the biographies of the folks who are in the movie. So yeah, everything's on our website. One of the other things we're doing, Manny, we're finding that particularly in senior citizen centers and also in veteran centers, people are interested in this film, and so we are starting to do some presentation to seniors groups and veterans groups here locally. So if anybody was interested in something like that, my contact information is on the website, so we would be interested in talking to folks about that as well.
That's
excellent,
great.
Excellent. Well, yeah, Tim, definitely. Thank you, man. We really appreciate you coming on the show here and telling us all about it. And for all the listeners out there, again, remember that website is thefallleague.com. Check it out. Documentary. Again, if you love softball, if you love baseball, it's definitely a good hour for you to spend and get into it. Tim, again, we want to thank you for coming up into the show here and telling us all about it. Any closing words, anybody else that you wanted to give a shout-out to or anything like that at all before we move on to the next segment?
Well, again, I would just like to thank you, Manny. You were one of our earliest supporters, and you've been there for us as, from the moment you heard about us. So I really do appreciate you having us back on. To all the folks out there who are sitting around, it's hard sometimes for younger people to understand that senior guys are really competitive on the field. So if there's anybody out there sitting around who's maybe retired from the sport and want to pick it up again, there are senior leagues growing like crazy all around the country. And I would encourage people to, look it up in their area and get back involved in it.
Definitely, Tim, definitely. Tim, thank you once again for being on. And I know we had spoken about doing some screenings down here in Miami. Remind everybody where the screenings are going to be up there at the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Okay, well, this Saturday, along as part of the Baseball Film Festival at the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. The whole festival, it starts Friday night, goes all day Saturday and Sunday morning and ends in the afternoon. So anybody who's a member or wants to be a member in the Cooperstown area. Then the following weekend, we're going to be at the Louisville International Film Festival in, of course, Louisville, Kentucky. And that is also a 3-day film festival. That festival is more geared towards movies in general rather than sports-oriented. So we're excited about that because that puts us in a different category. And then, as I believe as a result of our screening at Cooperstown, I've been talking with the Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame, and we're looking at screening after the first of the year at the Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame. So we're really excited about that as well.
That's awesome, Tim, man. Well, good luck this weekend. Good luck the following weekend. And good luck with Cincinnati, man.
Thank you.
And good luck with the film. I've seen it myself. I've seen it a couple times. and it's great, and it's true what you say about senior softball. Those guys, they're very competitive.
Yeah, and I will tell you, man, I know we talked about Miami. I'd love to come down to Miami and do a screening. I just need some, help, a sponsor or a theater that would sponsor a screening to make that happen. So, don't forget about me.
I won't, Sam. Well, thank you very much, and we'll be right back with Dr. Ray right after this short commercial break.
Thank you, Dr.
Listen
Ray.
to the Hot Corner Show every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the ISPS Radio Podcast channel. Call the show at 347-637-3978 and talk sports and health topics with Dr. Ray. Plus, slow pitch softball from around the world with Manuel T. Ferrero III, fantasy sports, special guests, and more. Call the show now on the special guest call-in hotline at 347-637-3978. Now, bring your A game, because you're about to experience the Hot Corner.
All right. Welcome back in, everybody. So we're going to do what they call pivot right now, and what we're going to do is we actually have a little bit of an issue in our fantasy football league right now. So as the commissioner of the league, it's my job to make sure that everything happens as fair as possible for everybody in the league. So we have both owners involved in a specific trade right now on the line. So what we're going to do is we are going to give the details about what happened, and we're going to hear from both sides. So basically what ended up happening was one trade was proposed from one owner to the other, and it involved a hurt player already. One of the other players in the trade then got hurt on Sunday, and then the trade was accepted after the injury happened. So first of all, let's start with Hans, who's the owner of Team Renegade, who drafted 4 quarterbacks and was trying to trade them off. And let's see what's going on right now. Hans, tell us your side of the story here, Hans. What's going on, Team Renegade?
Nothing much. I mean, I had a trade. Yeah, thanks. I had a trade proposed to me, and I pulled the trigger on the trade.
Wait.
I think honesty.
Hold on,
the trade was sitting for a week, one entire week, and when I pulled the trigger on the trade, somebody's crying foul.
Well,
the other owner has the opportunity to cancel the trade. The other owner has an opportunity to cancel the trade at any time, and did not choose to do so.
I was not made aware of that by the league commissioner. Was that ever stated?
I don't think that ever has to be stated.
If you read your Yahoo rules and regulations, it's stated.
No. The league has to set some rules, but it doesn't matter. We got to go a little bit further back to about a week, maybe 2 weeks ago.
When we first met, Manny, which was like 10 years ago.
No, someone 2 weeks ago sent me, who was it? Oh, yeah, Marshawn Lynch, which is my guy, for Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning is 53 years old. He has a spaghetti for an arm. And I said I rejected it.
And Peyton did some good numbers this weekend, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I know, and Marshawn Lynch hasn't done crap for me.
Exactly. That would have been a good trade for you to pull the trigger on, but you didn't.
No, I'm
instead you wanted Tony Romo. Peyton is still standing.
It's a long season. All right, number one. Tony Romo is still probably going to come back for this year, but here's the whole thing.
Week 11.
He's still going to come back. He'll be back in time for the playoffs. Here's the thing. Andre Ellington is often always hurt as well too. Tony Romo has a very well documented injury history as well too with his low back. He had to get shots last week before the game. So there was a lot of there's risk here both ways. The whole thing, though, is that the trade was offered, and it wasn't accepted only until after the injury. which is, of course, smart on Hans's part, dumb on Manny's part, but is it fair? All right, so that's really what we're trying to get to on the bottom line.
Well,
here. So if you guys are listening,
Dr. Ray, Dr. Ray, I've got one other point to add. Is it fair for a trade? A trade goes through. The majority of the league does not disapprove the trade. Now, the majority of the league either didn't pay attention or approved the trade, which to me says, okay, the league approved it. And I don't think it's to the commissioner to overturn that if the rest of the league didn't do so.
Exactly. But here's the thing.
Every trade needs to be approved.
You're 100% right. And I've never been one of the people that have, unless I saw a trade that was like crazy. And to be honest, a lot of people don't pay attention to any of the Yahoo emails, these kinds of things. So that's why I went ahead and I put a poll on there. So everybody knows.
I think
there's a poll on there that you can take a look at and vote, and either click yes or click no. And when we get enough votes, that's when we're going to go ahead and we're going to determine whether we're going to let the trade stand or whether we're going to go ahead and return it. But either way, it's all going to go down before Thursday. So let's get the votes in so that we can make it happen. And if there's anybody out there that's listening that wants to chime in as well, too, and tell us, should we let the trade stand or should we flip it, we'll count those votes as well, too. So if you guys have friends, tell them to let us know. Tell them to tweet us. Tell them to let us know what's going on. If you want, Hans, if you want to keep Ellington, Manny, if you want to get rid of Romo, then I suggest you guys tell everybody to vote, because that's what it's going to come down to. It's not my decision; it's the league's decision. So that's what we got to get.
I think that as a legal scholar, I think it's only fair to say that the league has already voted. Okay, voted or not voted, which is why the trade went through.
I am an American, and I'm going to have to
double
take
jeopardy
a high
doesn't
road
work.
on this. No, I'm going to have to take a high road on this. And the people voted already, and this is what happens in democracy when you don't vote or when you don't pay attention to what you're voting for or against. They voted against me. They voted against me this time. That's fine. Let Hans take Ellington. He needs a running back. I already got a quarterback, so I will drop Romo and I'll pick something else up. Don't worry about it. No problem.
Well, guys,
I'll tell you what,
guys. I'll take the low road. I need a running back.
Yeah,
I'm on two. I'm on two.
You know, the best part is that Manny's in 11th and Hans is in 12th. So right now, this is about as exciting as.
Yeah, I heard you. Hey guys, I gotta bail out because I gotta jump into a class. So I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, Hans. Thanks for calling in, buddy. Right. Good luck the rest of the way.
All right, good. Bye.
All right, excellent. So let's go ahead and let's do a little bit of a roundup here for the rest of what went on during the league this week, and yeah, that was some fun there. That's why I love having the managers call in. You know, it's always a lot of fun, especially when there's this kind of stuff going on. So there's been some moves being made now. I'm surprised because, Manny, you only have one move made so far, and that's like a record for you. Normally you're burning up the waiver wires.
I'm not comfortable, man, and it's not that I don't have good players. It's just that I'm starting the wrong guy. And let me tell you, I got a bone to pick with all these so-called NFL fantasy football experts and what you may call this, and start this guy, and you should go this way. Blah, 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 blah. For the second week in a row, 0-2, and my bench scores more than my at least in my running backs. My two running backs on my bench scored more than the two running backs that I started. Unbelievable.
Well, man, listen, that's what this game is all about. It's about getting those players on there. And I'll tell you what, there was a lot of high scoring in the league. I got lucky because I only beat somebody by 7 points, and they scored pretty high. They had 133 points. They would have beat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They would have beat 8 other people in the league. So, that's what it's just about, sometimes getting lucky in who you're playing, There would have been 2 teams that were within 1 point of each other that were playing each other. That would have been you and Fisher. If you were playing Fisher last week, you would have won by 0.5 points. So, it's all about who you play in the head-to-head and what's going on, and sometimes you get lucky. Now, our Week 2 biggest blowout was a 65-point victory by Shelley's team over Renegade, and Shelley's team just blew up this past weekend. Shelley he started everybody right. He had Tom Brady, he had Amari Cooper, he had Crabtree, he had Peterson, Steve Smith. Everybody just came to play for Shelley this past weekend. So he actually did really, really well. He scored 170 points last week, and that I think so far has been the high. So far the league is shaking up. We've got 3 teams at 2-0. We've got 3 teams at 0-2, and everybody else is right in the middle there at 1-1. So, again, there's a lot going out as far as a lot of players going out with injuries, and this is when it's important to have that depth. So sometimes, teams will try to trade 2 or 3 players to get one, bigger name and, one injury, and before you know it, you're out of luck. So, that's always a good strategy, but you got to make sure that you have depth as well too. But right now is a great opportunity to buy low, to sell high, and so I wanted to give you guys a great buy low candidate. And for me, that is Andrew Luck. A lot of teams that took Andrew Luck got him in the first round or the second round, probably the latest, the third round. Probably one of the first quarterbacks to be taken off the board, and with good reason. He's a great quarterback. And I tell you what, he's got a lot of new players around him, new running backs. It's going to take a little bit of time for them to gel there, but I don't think that Andrew Luck is going to be this bad for the whole season. So I think that if you guys are out there and you've got some players that were off to a hot start, somebody like Andrew Luck may be a good target for you to think about. So that's somebody that I would check out right now. But if we were to say who is the number one, let's call it position player. Manny, who do you think would be the number one position player based on fantasy points right now?
Right now?
Yep. That's not a quarterback. Position player that's not a quarterback.
Odell Beckham Jr.
Odell Beckham Jr. is actually not even in the top 20 right now. The number one position player is Antonio Brown, who is in the hot corner squad. So he is followed very closely by Julio Jones, who's on Team Tillman, who's also doing very well. Team Tillman actually has the most points scored out of all the teams. And then after that, we then have mixed in with a few quarterbacks, Rob Gronkowski, then Julian Edelman, and thanks to this past week, then Larry Fitzgerald. Travis Benjamin, who this is somebody who, if you have, you want to sell high right now. I don't foresee Travis Benjamin to be one of the highest scoring players moving forward here. I think that if you can try to package somebody with him and try to go after Andrew Luck, you might be able to get an unsuspecting owner to pull the trigger there and basically chase points. So that may be a good idea. But basically, again, what we're looking at right now is a great opportunity to buy low and sell high. So this is something that I would take to look at. But why don't we go ahead and let's take a quick break, and let's go ahead and get into the health topic of the night. And when we come back from the health topic, we'll go ahead and we'll finish up, and we'll do a little bit more fantasy to close out the show. But we're going to be right back talking health right after this quick break.
Frontier Spine and Healthcare brings you the cutting edge in healthcare with all the newest research and techniques in natural medicine. Although many people share the same symptoms, they all have them for different reasons. Using thorough physical examination and the newest technology in diagnostic testing, we can truly discover why you have the symptoms you do. Remember that good doctors know what you have, but great doctors know why. Call 786-353-HEAL or click www.353heal.com to schedule your appointment and experience the future of medicine today. Predictive, preventive, and personalized. Frontier Spine and Healthcare. Area code 786-353-HEAL or www.353heal.com.
All right. So let's get into this quickly here. And again, this is going to be part one of a three-part series. And what we're going to be talking about is the three components to health. And what I want you guys to think about is, and a great way to picture this is to be truly healthy, all right? Think about a three-legged stool, all right? And this three-legged stool has three legs: physical, chemical, and emotional. And all of these need to be balanced in order for you to sit on that stool and to be healthy. So the first leg is physical health. And what are we talking about when it comes to physical health? So physical health means functionality before anything. Physical health doesn't just mean that you're strong, and that you have a lot of strength, or that you have a lot of stamina, or that you are extremely flexible. But instead, it's a combination of all of these different aspects of your physical health that make up your ability to be healthy. So when it comes to treating people physically, what can we do in order to help out? Well, obviously there's exercise. This is probably the most important component when it comes to physical health. And exercise can come in many different ways. There can be activities, there can be weightlifting, there can be cross-training, there can be CrossFit, there can be Zumba classes, yoga. There's 1,000,001 ways to work on physical health. And the goal when you're working on the physical side of your health is to be as balanced as possible again as well, just like with that stool. So a good combination of working on strength, working on speed, working on agility, working on flexibility especially is very important. And I think that flexibility is one of the things that is most neglected when it comes to people's workouts. You know, I was one of those people that always go to the gym, run a mile for a warm-up, pump some weights, and then get out of there, and never stretch. And the problem with that is that every time that you're working out, what's really going on is you're putting a controlled stress onto your musculoskeletal system. And what that stress is doing is it's breaking that system down. And what your body is doing in response to that is adapting. And that adaptation is where you get stronger. It's where your muscles grow. It's where you get the desired results. So in that adaptation period, the way that your muscles heal is not linearly. And this is important because when you think about your muscles, what you want to think about is kind of like little filaments of this is hard to explain without a diagram or without anything like that. But let's say take your hands and put them right in front of you and open your fingers up. And if you were to slide your fingers, okay, and have your palms facing you and open your fingers up a little bit, but if you were to slide your fingers in between one another to kind of make like a lock and a key type of a thing, this is the way that your muscles work, all right? So when your muscles contract, it's like your fingertips go all the way to the end of your other fingertips, and it makes it completely closed, and when they relax, they come out to the end. Now, when your muscles get broken down, what ends up happening is these fibers or your fingers end up becoming loose and they need to heal. So instead of healing linearly, like you're looking at your fingers, and it's only going left to right and right to left, they start to heal up and down as well too, and these are called muscular adhesions. So when you see people doing, the foam roller and massage and knots and those things, these are called adhesions. So if you're not stretching, every time you break your muscles down, these adhesions are sealing your muscles together, and they're making them contract more and basically getting rid of their tensile strength and making them very, very short.
Hey, Dr. Ray, are you inside of a box?
Am I inside of a box?
It sounds like you're inside of a box.
I'm inside of a room. I'm inside of a box. Am I thinking inside the box right now?
I think you were. I think it's you were too close to the microphone.
Okay. I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
Well, thanks for letting me know. Am I better now?
Yes, perfect.
All right, great. So, again, to get back to that point now is basically if you're not stretching and those muscles get very tight, think about now a rubber band. If you take that rubber band and you pull it and you just put a little tension in it, you can pull it a lot farther quickly and it won't snap. But if you take that rubber band and you pull it very, very tight and you suddenly pull it just a little bit more, there's a pretty good chance that it's actually going to break on you. And this is very similar to how muscles get pulled. This is how a lot of times you see, oh, he tweaked a hamstring or he tweaked this or he tweaked that. What ends up happening is those fibers rip apart a little bit too much. And so making sure that they're loose and making sure that they're stretched is a great way to avoid those injuries. Now, there's a certain timeline in chronological order that this stretching needs to be done. You don't necessarily want to stretch before you do a workout because when you stretch, your job is to tear those fibers down so that they can align the right way. But if you tear fibers down before you start working out, you're going to limit your ability to be strong and you're going to limit your ability to have stamina. So you never want to stretch before you do a workout. You want to warm up, but you don't want to actually stretch very deeply and try to really tear that muscle down. So for all those people that stretch first and then go and work out, you're actually not working out as great as you can. So that's one little tip that can make a difference for you there. But you do want to spend time working out. Now, the other part of it, and this is something that's very important for me, is making sure that everything is balanced. A lot of times we work chest, we work biceps all the time, but we don't work out back enough, or we don't work out our neck muscles, or we don't work out our core. You have to work out all your muscles equally. And making sure that you have that balance is what keeps you healthy. Because if you don't have balance with your muscular system, and you guys are probably going to hear me say balance 500 times throughout these 3 segments, but that's what it's really all about, is about balancing the posterior chain versus the anterior chain, the push muscles versus the pull muscles. So finding that balance is really important, and you can train them in different ways. And that's really something that if you don't know how to do, you need to learn how to do, or you need to find somebody that can help you do that. And there's a lot of trainers that can help you with that as well, too, at your local gyms. Even online trainers might be able to help you come out with a plan for that as well, too. So that's something that I would suggest. And then the last part of the physical health is chiropractic, acupuncture, these types of things. Massage, infrared sauna. These things are all great because what they do is they align things. Now, chiropractic, a lot of people think, oh, it's just cracking bones. But what is the point of cracking or adjusting these bones? These bones hold your nervous system, and your nervous system is what allows everything in your body to work. Without your nervous system, you can't live, you can't breathe, you can't digest, you can't move your arm, you can't wiggle your toe, you can't do anything. So, you know, when somebody gets their spinal cord injured, what happens? They become paralyzed. And so that's when it's very injured. But when the bones are out of place, they build inflammation, and that puts small amounts of pressure on nerves. Now, there's been studies that have shown that the pressure or the weight of a dime can change the way that a nerve works. So if there's inflammation in your joints, that's going to cause a lot of issues, and that can change the way that your nerves are working, and that can change the way that your brain is communicating with the outside world. So getting adjusted is extremely important, and that's why most athletes do it, because they realize that, you know, it's a game of inches, and every inch counts. And if the nervous system is working at its optimal level, that's going to allow them to communicate and to make things happen as fast and as efficiently as possible and as optimal as possible. So it's extremely important, and I know that most athletes do this, most Olympic athletes, most professional athletes. I was watching the tennis the other day, and I was watching somebody get adjusted. I've seen football players getting adjusted on the sidelines. Almost every NFL team has a chiropractor, and so they realize the importance of it. So you don't have to be a professional athlete to get it. A lot of chiropractors are covered by insurance. So definitely it's something, you know, everybody says, oh, once you go, you have to keep going. Definitely. You know, how long do you have to go to the gym in order to be healthy? you have to keep going. And the same thing happens with the chiropractor. You know, you want to get to a maintenance phase, but at the same time, it is something that you do need to address and that you do need to take care of. So that's really all about the physical side of health. And, you know, massage is another great way to loosen those muscles, get rid of those knots, break up those adhesions. And most chiropractors will have a massage therapist in their office. So I would suggest that you invest in yourself, go to the chiropractor, go get massage, take time to spend on yourself with the physical side of your health, because as you get older, you're going to realize that the physical side is the thing that starts to decline probably the fastest. And if you enjoy competition and you like the sports and you want to be out there, you know, it sucks being on the sidelines. So take care of yourself, invest in yourself, and take care of the physical side of health. And if you have any questions, again, I'm always here for you guys. Whatever you need, tweet me, call me, whatever the case is, and we'll get you the information that you need. So that's going to do it for our health section of the night. We're going to break real quick, and we'll be right back with our sports dork right after this.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. It's sports with the Sports Dork. Live right now on the ISPS Radio Network. With sports news and entertainment for all you dorks out there. Follow him on Twitter at David Dwork. And call the show now at 347-637-3978. And ask the Dwork anything. Nothing's off topic. And now, the sports dwarf, David Dwork.
All right, and we are back with Mr. Dwork. David, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing good, Dr. Ray, man. How's it going?
Never better, my man. I actually really never better. I've got like a newfound taste for life today after being in bed the past couple of days with the flu. So I'm doing great. Yeah, fantasy this week for me was kind of crazy. Won a few leagues, lost a few leagues. I think 6 is too many. I don't know how I'm gonna get that down, but it's crazy. But either way, there's been a lot of things going on, and I was just telling Manny earlier, you know, I think now is a great time for buy low, sell high kind of, you know, type of a situation. But what's your biggest takeaway from week 2 right now so far, fantasy-wise?
So far it's been pretty unpredictable. I mean, a lot of the guys that you expected to perform like, you know, running back ones or wide receiver ones aren't really doing that, and guys who were late round pickups, like Larry Fitzgerald had a huge game last weekend. So it's really during the month of September, I always just kind of try to wait and see before jumping to any major conclusions, just because, you know, teams are finding their footing. They're trying to figure out what kind of offense they're going to run. So, you know, for the time being, like I'm with you on the buy low, sell high. There's a couple of trades that I was trying to make in my leagues that are still kind of in the transition mode, so we'll have to see how all that plays out. But, you know, right now it's just a matter of trying to scour the waiver wires and figure out which guys can be good pickups week to week and just go from there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's one of those times where, you know, you kind of – you're like, oh, no, like Manny, for example, sitting at 0-2, making trades for Tony Romo. You know, I don't – Manny, tell David what's going on
here. Listen, Dr. Ray. I don't know if you remember that I said at the beginning of the show, I'm not speaking to any more of these so-called NFL fantasy experts. So you better tell. You better tell our special guest. Thanks, but no thanks.
I don't blame you, Manny.
Yeah, Marshawn Lynch. Yeah, why don't you start Marshawn Lynch and Lamar Miller over Danny Woodhead and Vereen? Yeah, great call. Great call on that one, guys. Unbelievable.
Hey, I've been pushing Woodhead and Vereen in PPRs, man. PPR leagues, those guys are your friends because they rack up the catches. Lamar Miller, before the season, a lot of people were all over Lamar Miller. He looked so good, and Miami is just not running the ball at all. So until they get that going, personally, I would stick Lamar on my bench and stick the PPR guys in my lineup and just let those points rack up.
I hear you, but I'm
but
sorry,
you know what? Don't
Ray,
listen to me though, because I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah, listen, Dr. Ray. Why don't you have the Sports Dork figure out our little case with the Jafakin?
All right, so let me break it down here. All right, so I'm not going to tell you who's who here, but we're having a little situation in our fantasy league right now, and me being the commissioner, I have to keep it fair for everybody. So basically we had one team propose to another team about a week ago, Tony Romo for Andre Ellington, and that trade was then accepted at around 7 o'clock on Sunday, which was at about an hour and a half after Tony Romo went down, clutching his left arm after being landed on by a defensive lineman, which everybody who's ever watched a football game knows is probably a clavicle. So the whole problem here is that the trade was on the table for a week, and it wasn't accepted until after the injury happened. But now there's question as to whether the trade should be reversed or the trade should stand firm, being as that Ellington was already injured at the time that it was offered, and they were understanding that one player was injured and so on and so forth. So if you were the commissioner, what would you do, David?
What I would do is probably put the onus on the team owners, because if it was me in that situation and I had that trade on the table, and I knew that, I was offering up somebody that, if I was offering up Tony Romo for a guy that is injured but could not get injured, and then suddenly Romo goes down, if you're a savvy fantasy player, you got to realize, oh crap, there's a trade that could potentially go through right now where I'm going to get screwed. So I got to jump on my computer and cancel that immediately. So for me, I feel like the onus is more on the owners than it is on the commissioner, because, like you said, it was there for a week. They were well aware of the situation. So that's my opinion.
All right. Well, we currently have it set up for a league vote, and so we're gonna go through, and whatever the league decides by Thursday is going to be what ends up happening. Again, because we're going to try to keep everything as fair as possible. That's how we do it on the Hot Corner Listener League. But thanks for the input, and that's definitely, it's been a fun situation to say the least so far, and it's created a little bit of drama, so it's made it like a nice little reality show. So it's been fun with that. But I wanted to ask your opinion on a couple of guys. Number one, do you see any value going forward in what's this guy? Once Le'Veon Bell gets back, in D'Angelo Williams?
Oh, D'Angelo Williams?
Do you see any value in keeping him after Le'Veon Bell comes back? Because he's been off the charts his first 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, that's the main reason to hang on to him, at least for a couple weeks, to see how it goes. I was actually reading up on that earlier today. Mike Tomlin has said, even though Le'Veon Bell is a guy who hates to come off the field, he hates it, but Mike Tomlin said he's going to stick with D'Angelo, because when you have a guy playing as well as he is and meshing so well with that offense, you'd be silly not to keep rolling him out there. He's certainly not going to get the same amount of touches that he's been getting, but I still see him going out there every third or fourth series. So I'd be willing to hang on to him for at least a week or two and see how the dynamic works once Le'Veon Bell gets back in the mix.
Excellent. Yeah, that's similar to the opinion I had on the situation. And, of course, Le'Veon Bell, who knows injury-wise what could happen, but that's a great handcuff, if anything, there. So if you've got room on the bench, definitely a good stash as well, too. And the other guy I wanted to ask you about was Dion Lewis, who's also been playing fairly well in New England. Is he the back to own, or is it LeGarrette Blount, or what do you think about that situation there?
It's always so hard to figure out the running back situation in New England, but I picked up Dion Lewis in one of my leagues. The way that he's been playing, it's kind of hard to do anything but stick with him, because he's doing it all for the Patriots. He's catching passes out of the backfield, and he's running like a beast. So for now, I would say that Dion Lewis is the guy. I mean, Belichick can change his mind at the drop of a hat, but, the way that Dion Lewis is playing, he'd be silly not to continue to play him. So I think we might actually see a little bit of a different situation in New England this year than what we're used to. If Dion Lewis continues to perform the way he's been, then he could just be that, lead horse back for the rest of the season. And then LeGarrette Blount can be what he generally is suited to be, which is a change of pace, big bruising kind of third down back. So, I'm willing to wait and see. But Dion Lewis playing as well as he has, I'm excited to see what's in the future for him, considering I just picked him up in one of my leagues.
There we go. All right. And finally, I wanted to ask you about the Dolphins' backfield. I know that, Lamar Miller had a little bit of a...
Stay away.
Stay away. Well, definitely. I mean, you know that we've been talking about it here on the show, even that Tannehill's obviously, stepping up and they're passing a lot right now. But I think a lot of this also has to do with the fact that we're not getting ahead early. We're kind of in these really close games, and so we're not really able to establish the run to control the game tempo here. So I think that situation is going to kind of turn around a little bit as the defense starts to gel a little bit more. That's just my opinion from what I've been seeing. But at the same time, with the injury that Lamar Miller is dealing with right now, what do you expect to see happening this weekend on the field there? And again, a little bit more down the road here.
Well, as far as this weekend goes, I know that what they were saying after practice today was that they're just kind of going to see how Miller's ankle responds as the week goes on, to see if he's going to be able to play this week. I know they signed Jonas Gray off the practice squad again, so his activeness for the game on Sunday is probably going to hinge on whether or not Lamar is healthy enough to play. Personally, I think he's going to be okay because he said after the game on Sunday that he was okay. They held him back today, but I have a feeling he's going to play. And, Dolphins offensive coordinator Bill Lazor even said after that game that he needs to get better as far as calling running plays, that he admitted that after a couple of running plays didn't work, he would just kind of shy away from it and keep throwing the ball, which is what we've all seen happen. So I feel like they're going to make more of a concentrated effort to stick to the run, even if it doesn't succeed early, because generally, as you guys I'm sure have seen watching football forever, that running backs get better as the game goes on. The more that they're out there, the more they get a feel for the game and the flow of the game, the way their offensive line is playing, they get better as the quarters go by. And Lamar is no different. He was like that at UM, and if he gets that chance, I think he'll be like that in Miami. So, I'm not ready to completely jump ship on the Dolphins running game. I want to see if Bill Lazor is going to stick to his word from earlier this week. Because what we saw from Lamar Miller during the preseason and during training camp, he looked better than ever. He looked so explosive. He looked powerful. I was excited for the possibilities, and it's just frustrating that they haven't been able to reach that yet. But I feel as though they can, as long as they don't continue to shy away from the run. So we'll see how it plays out.
Well, he
just
got dropped. Not dropped, but he's in the bench for Danny Woodhead. Danny Woodhead is starting in for Lamar Miller this weekend.
Yeah, I would do the same thing, Manny. Until Lamar and the Dolphins offense show that they can be a sustainable running attack, I would do the same thing, especially if it's a PPR.
Manny, you know that this weekend Lamar Miller is going to rush for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Danny Woodhead is going to get hurt. No, I'm just kidding, Manny. It's just fun to mess with you, man. We're on a roll right now. But actually, David, I got one more question for you. What happened on the last play with Landry, your best player, wide open with nobody even covering him on a 4th and 1? What was your opinion on that play? What did you think about all that right there? The way that we ended up, closing out that game versus Jacksonville.
That's a situation that Ryan Tannehill hasn't been in very often in his pro career. And, as we've seen with him, he's the kind of guy that he gets better as he gets in those situations. That's a very difficult situation for any quarterback, being, down a score with under a minute left, no timeouts. So it's understandable that he got a little bit over-flustered, if you allow me to create a word. But, it's frustrating because they definitely had the opportunity to move the ball down the field. That was a very ugly set of downs for Miami. But I feel like it's just kind of part of the maturation process for Tannehill, where we're just going to have to let him grow and get better adapted. I mean, hopefully the Dolphins won't be in those situations very often, but maybe now they'll put more of an emphasis on it during practice. They do a lot of 2-minute drill stuff. They do a lot of red zone stuff. And you never want to prepare to be losing, but it's that kind of thing where you want to be ready for every situation. I mean, Bill Belichick puts his team, that's all he does is situations in practice. Situations, anything you can think of. And, you see the Patriots are pretty much prepared for anything that gets thrown at them. So it's the kind of lesson that any other coach could take from that. Because, like you said, Landry was wide open. The possibilities, the options were there that they could have done something with that drive, but it just fizzled into a big nothing wad of loss in Jacksonville. And it is frustrating. I'm sure you guys were just as frustrated as I was watching that play out.
Definitely. David, the other day I was watching Monday Night Football, and I don't know if you've seen it, where they go around the desk and on the field with the reporters, and they ask who do they think is going to win, the game. I think we should do the same on Thursday Night Football, since it's tomorrow. Who do you think is going to win, Redskins and the Giants tomorrow? Maybe we'll have some type of running bet where I don't know, the winner gets something at the end. I don't know. Who knows? We'll do something.
We can all go out drinking, and the winner picks up the loser picks up the tab, something like that.
The worst record picks up the tab. There you go.
Yeah. Tomorrow night I'm taking the Giants at home, man. The Giants, I think they're I can't remember the exact stat, but they're like the first team in like 50 years to be leading two games by 10 plus points in the fourth quarter and lose them both. The Giants have shown that they can be a good team, but they've really faltered down the stretch. I think that they're going to show up in front of their home crowd and finally get off the schneid and get that win. So I'm definitely taking the Giants tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think I'm going with Eli as well, man. I'm going with the Giants at home. What about you, Dr. Ray? Dr. Ray, we lost you?
Dr. Ray, he stepped out the back door. He doesn't want to pick this game.
Uh-oh. You guys can't hear me? You guys can't hear me now? All right, I'm back. I'm back in the game. All right, so I'm actually going to switch it up a little bit on you guys, and I'm going to actually take the Redskins. And the reason is because I like the emergence of Matt Jones. I think that they're starting to come together a little bit. I think that Deshaun Jackson being out actually helps them a little bit, because when they try to throw the ball deep and so on and so forth, it works 1 out of 10 times, that kind of a thing. But I think that more importantly, the Giants, are missing, core players at each level. Jason Pierre-Paul being out, Beeson being out, Rogers Cromartie dealing with the injury last week. I think their defense is just porous at this time, and they're not closing games. They don't have that instinct right now, and I think Coughlin is on the hot seat, and I think that they're pressing a lot in New York, and so for that, for all those reasons, I think I'm going to go with the Redskins, and not only that, but I want to switch it up, and we can't all go for the same people, so. But anyway, I go for the Skins. Not to mention, I got a soft spot for the Skins. I like those guys.
Well, because you love your Seminoles, so you see the similarities there.
Yeah, they're cousins.
Yeah, exactly. It's that garnet and gold. Definitely. Well,
right, so,
man, I think
Dr. Ray picks the Redskins, and the Sports Stork and myself pick the Giants for tomorrow's Thursday Night Football. All right, I'll be watching.
Lock it up.
All right. Lock it up. The picks are in. All right, excellent. So, Manny, did you have anything else for David? Well, we're like 15 minutes over time. We're going to have to extend the show. I think that's it. I think it's just we don't have enough time anymore to just get it all in. We used to say we'll pack it all into an hour, but it's just not happening. We're going to have to make it at least an hour and a half here. But you have anything else for David?
Nothing much. David,
let me ask your opinion and take it into consideration.
Yes.
Marshawn Lynch or Vereen?
Let's see. The Giants have the Redskins at home, and who's Seattle got this week? Seattle. I'm trying to remember. Seattle. I was just looking at it too.
Chicago.
Chicago. Well, no, I would go with Lynch. I would stay with Lynch for at least another week. Chicago's defense hasn't exactly been scaring anybody. And Marshawn, he hasn't been getting in the end zone, but he has been putting up yardage. So, you could do the opposite of what I would do, but I would stick with Marshawn.
And Marshawn is playing at home, correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
All right. Well, Manny, I would tell you that I would definitely stick with Marshawn this week because the Bears, I think, are last in almost every defensive category. So, definitely.
Yeah, and the Seahawks are getting Cam Chancellor back, so they're likely to be playing ahead. They're not going to be giving up as much. So, I think it's a good week to have Marshawn.
All right. Perfect.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Marshawn and Woodhead.
There you go.
I think the bigger choice that you have there, Manny, would be either Woodhead or Vereen. I think that's more where you want to try to decipher. But Lynch, I think, is a must-play this week. And then, I would wait up until game time to try to decipher that. The only problem that you have there is that, obviously Vereen plays tomorrow night. So I guess it just depends on, do you want to have a Thursday night player in there or what do you want to do?
I already have Garcon. Garcon is playing tomorrow. He's one of my wide receivers.
All right, there it is.
I gotta run, guys. I'm at my family for dinner, and they're like giving me the stink eye to come back in the house.
All right, Dwork.
All right, David. Thanks a lot for joining us, and we'll be talking with you. Have a good one. Enjoy dinner.
All right, thanks, fellas. We'll get back at it next Wednesday.
Bye-bye.
You got it. Take care.
That was our very own Sports Dwork, bringing you all the sports news and entertainment you need. Thanks again for listening in. We hope you enjoyed Sports with the Sports Dwork, David Dwork. Now, don't be a real dork. The show's not over. Keep listening. Here are Dr. Ray and Manuel T. Ferrero III.
All right. So, again, we want to thank everybody for listening tonight. We actually had a reply on Facebook to what the favorite yogiism is, and somebody actually said one of my favorite yogiisms, which was, it ain't over till it's over. So that was Tatiana Dana. We want to thank her for participating and give her a shout-out. Good friend of mine, and also pretty cool that she knows about a yogiism. So, Yogi, that just tells you about how far these yogiisms transcended into everyday life. So, again, big shout out to Yogi and to his family and to everything that he did for the game of baseball. And, Manny, I know, again, especially being such a big Yankees fan that you are, a sad day for you guys, but great show. Want to thank everybody for listening and for being a part of it. Again, Tim GEBARD from the Fall League Movie. Check that out, again, thefallleaguemovie.com. We want to thank David for coming on again. Want to thank you guys for listening about the physical part of your health. Remember, next week we're going to be talking with David again. And we're also going to be talking from Steve Goody from Pocket Radar at pocketradio.com. So we're going to be talking about all that. And we're also going to be talking about the chemical side of your health.
Dr. Ray. Sorry about that.
Oh, sorry about that. No problem.
PocketRadar.com.
All right, perfect. So if you guys are interested in knowing what Pocket Radar is, then tune in next week. Manny, go ahead and give out some shout-outs right now, and then we'll go ahead and close it all up tonight.
No, I want to give a shout-out to Hans the Jafaican, who pulled a fast one on me. But it's all right. It's all right. Don't worry about it. And Tim GEBARD from the Fall League Movie,
Dr. Ray, of course, and the sports dwark, David Dwork. And our condolences to the Yogi Berra family. And man, bro, it feels like if you're part of the Yankee family, like we lost a grandfather. You know what I mean? So
definitely.
Our condolences to their family, man. And next weekend, I'm interested to talk to Steve Goody from PocketRadar.com. Check it out, Pocket Radar. That little machine does a lot of things, man. It's pretty cool, so check it out.
All right, there you have it. Want to thank everybody again for listening in tonight. Catch us back here next Wednesday on the Hot Corner, 7 o'clock. And we may have an hour-and-a-half show for you next week, so get ready from 7 to 8 and maybe a little bit past. Want to thank everybody again for joining us here. Have a great night, and until next week, everybody be well and go Skins.
Yeah, go Giants.
You've just heard the Hot Corner Show on the ISPS Radio Podcast Network with the softball-playing chiropractor and official chiropractor of ISPS, Dr. Ray Tolmos, and Commissioner of International Slow Pitch Softball, Manuel T. Ferrero III. Remember to follow the show and hosts on Twitter and Facebook at ISPSO, at DRRAYT. We hope you enjoyed the show and invite you to listen in to Dr. Ray and Manuel T. Ferrero III each and every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the International Slow Pitch Softball Radio Podcast channel at ISPSradio.com.